It was a beautiful spring morning in Green Valley, and little Rexinho was busy doing one of his favorite things, making daisy chains by the giggling stream. His rainbow-sparkled tail swished contentedly as he carefully threaded one flower stem through another, humming a cheerful tune that the birds seemed to enjoy. "This one is for Mama," Rexinho said to himself, admiring his work. "And this one is for Bella Butterfly, and this one is for..." Suddenly, Rexinho heard a sound he had never heard before. It was a tiny sneeze, followed by a little puff of smoke that drifted over the flowers. Then came a small, sad voice. "Oh no, not again!" Rexinho stood up on his tippy toes and looked around. "Hello. Is someone there?" "Down here," squeaked the voice. "By the purple mushrooms." Rexinho walked over to where a cluster of purple mushrooms grew near an old oak tree. He looked carefully, moving aside some tall grass, and gasped at what he saw. There, sitting on a smooth pebble and looking very sorry for himself, was the tiniest dragon Rexinho had ever seen. In fact, it was the only dragon Rexinho had ever seen, but that didn't make it any less surprising. The little dragon was no bigger than a butterfly. His scales shimmered in beautiful shades of ruby red and sunset orange. He had delicate wings that looked like stained glass, tiny horns on his head, and a thin tail that curled nervously around the pebble. His big golden eyes looked up at Rexinho with a mixture of hope and embarrassment. "Hi," Rexinho said warmly, kneeling down to get a better look. "I'm Rexinho. What's your name?" The tiny dragon sniffled. "I'm Spark," he said in his squeaky little voice. "Well, my full name is Spark Flame Emberscale the Magnificent, but everyone just calls me Spark." He sighed deeply. "Though I'm not very magnificent at all." "Why would you say that?" Rexinho asked, sitting down cross-legged so he wouldn't tower over his new friend. "You look pretty magnificent to me. I've never met a real dragon before." Spark's eyes brightened for just a moment, but then he looked down at his tiny claws sadly. "That's the problem," he explained. "I'm supposed to be a mighty dragon. My family comes from a long line of great dragons who guard treasures and soar through the clouds and breathe huge flames that light up the sky." He tried to demonstrate by taking a deep breath and puffing out his little chest. What came out was a tiny puff of smoke about the size of a soap bubble, followed by a small spark that fizzled out immediately. Spark sneezed again, and a bit more smoke puffed out. "See," Spark said miserably. "I can't breathe proper fire like my big brothers and sisters. I'm too small, my wings are too delicate to carry me very high, and instead of a mighty roar, I just squeak. My family says I'll grow bigger someday, but right now I feel like the most unmagnificent dragon in the whole world." Rexinho's heart went out to little Spark. He knew exactly how the tiny dragon felt. "You know what?" Rexinho said gently. "I used to worry about being too small too. Sometimes I still do. But I've learned that being small doesn't mean you can't be special or do amazing things." Spark looked up with interest. "Really? But you're a dinosaur. You're supposed to be big and strong." Rexinho giggled. "Well, I'm not very big yet. And my roar sounds more like a squeak too. But I've had some really great adventures. I saved a rainbow once, and I discovered a magic door in the forest." "You did?" Spark's wings fluttered with excitement, making a sound like tiny wind chimes. "I did. And I learned that what makes you special isn't your size. It's what's in your heart and how you help others." Rexinho thought for a moment. "Hey, I have an idea. Why don't you come with me today? We can have an adventure together. Maybe we can find something that makes you feel magnificent." For the first time since Rexinho had found him, Spark smiled. "Really? You'd want to go on an adventure with me?" "Of course," Rexinho said cheerfully. "Adventures are always better with friends." And so the two new friends set off together. Rexinho walked carefully to make sure Spark could keep up. The tiny dragon flew beside Rexinho's head, his little wings working hard but managing to keep him airborne. They walked through the meadow of daisies, where Spark helped Rexinho finish his daisy chains by using his small flames to gently tie the knots tighter. "See," Rexinho said, "your flames might be small, but they're perfect for delicate work." As they continued their walk, they heard a familiar voice crying out, "Help! Oh dear, help!" Rexinho and Spark rushed toward the sound and found Professor Prickles, the hedgehog, standing beside his burrow with tears in his eyes. "Professor Prickles, what's wrong?" Rexinho asked. The hedgehog wrung his little paws anxiously. "It's my spectacles. They fell down into a crack in my burrow, way deep where I can't reach. Without them, I can't read my books or sort my acorns properly. Everything is just a blur." Rexinho tried to reach into the crack, but his arms were too big. He couldn't fit them into the narrow space. "Oh no," he said. "I can't reach them either." But then Spark flew forward. "Let me try," the tiny dragon said bravely. "I'm small enough to fit." Before anyone could worry, Spark zipped into the crack, his small body glowing slightly in the darkness. Everyone held their breath. A moment later, Spark emerged, carefully carrying Professor Prickles' spectacles in his tiny claws. "You did it!" Professor Prickles exclaimed joyfully, placing his spectacles back on his nose. "Oh, thank you, little dragon. You saved my day." Spark blushed, his scales glowing a bit brighter. "It was nothing," he said modestly, but Rexinho could see how happy he looked. As they continued their adventure, they encountered more friends who needed help. Spark's small size became his greatest strength. When Babybird's nest got stuck too far out on a thin branch that couldn't hold Rexinho's weight, Spark flew out and gently freed it. When a bee got her wing caught in a spider's web, Spark used his tiny flames to carefully burn away the sticky threads without hurting the bee. When dewdrops needed to be warmed so the flowers could drink them properly, Spark's gentle breath was perfect for the job. By the time the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, both Rexinho and Spark were tired but incredibly happy. They sat together on Rexinho's favorite hill, looking out over Green Valley. "Rexinho," Spark said softly, his voice full of wonder, "I helped so many friends today. I never thought being small could be such a good thing." "You were amazing," Rexinho said proudly. "You did things that nobody else could do, precisely because you're the perfect size you are right now." Spark's wings shimmered in the sunset light. "You know what? I think I understand something now. My big brothers and sisters might be able to guard treasures and light up the sky with huge flames, but I can do something they can't. I can reach the small places, help the tiny creatures, and do the delicate work that needs a gentle touch." "Exactly," Rexinho said, his tail sparkling with happy rainbow colors. "We're all magnificent in our own special ways." Just then, something magical happened. As Spark felt the joy and pride growing in his heart, his scales began to glow brighter than ever before. He took a deep breath, not to make a big flame, but because he felt so happy and confident. When he exhaled, instead of just smoke and a spark, a beautiful stream of tiny golden flames came out. They weren't huge flames like his family could make, but they were perfect little flames that danced in the air like fireflies, beautiful and bright and uniquely his own. "Rexinho, look!" Spark cried out with delight. "My flames! They're growing! They're beautiful!" Rexinho laughed with joy. "See, when you believe in yourself and do what makes you special, you grow in the ways you're meant to grow." Spark flew in happy circles around Rexinho's head, leaving a trail of golden sparks that looked like tiny stars. "Thank you, Rexinho. Thank you for showing me that being small doesn't mean I can't be magnificent. I just needed to find my own way to shine." From that day forward, Rexinho and Spark became the very best of friends. They had many more adventures together, helping creatures big and small all around Green Valley. The other animals learned that when they needed help with something delicate or tricky, They could count on the little dinosaur and the tiny dragon to save the day. Spark still dreamed of growing bigger someday, and his family assured him that he would. But now he wasn't in such a hurry. He had discovered that being small had its own kind of magnificence. And whenever he felt unsure, he would remember the day he met Rexinho, and how helping others with his unique gifts made him feel like the most magnificent dragon in the world. As for Rexinho, he had learned once again that the best adventures aren't about being the biggest or the strongest. They're about being kind, being yourself, and being a good friend to those who need you. The end. Dream of magical adventures, dear ones. Remember, you are magnificent exactly as you are, and you have special gifts that only you can share with the world.